This is going to be my thought video on Brian Michael Bendis. Brian Michael Bendis, I first got introduced to him through his Ultimate Spider-Man stuff, and then his Sam and Twitch run he had, which are both very good runs. Ultimate Spider-Man particularly is going to be remembered as one of the best books ever written. He really revolutionized that book when the Ultimate Universe was created. That was really the flagship of the Ultimate Universe. Just showing that you can reintroduce Spider-Man in a new and different way, and so that new readers can come in and not have to worry about picking up Amazing Spider-Man and have to go back and read all this continuity. And he just created his new type of Spider-Man for a new audience, and really a lot of that was used for inspiration for the Spider-Man movies, especially the web stuff, which in the movies they had basically skipped over the whole where Spider-Man used those web shooters, instead of having it where it came out of his skin, which is basically what Bendis had kind of introduced in the Ultimate Universe of Spider-Man, which is now ruined thanks to Ultimatum. But that's a whole different story for a whole different time. He's a very much a Marvel guy, doing a lot of events and stuff for Marvel, which falls short. For me, Brian Michael Bendis is best when he's writing indie stuff, when he's doing his own books, stuff like Jinx, Torso, Powers, and even his new book Scarlet, which I'm going to do a review on, which I picked that up. I'm going to do a review on that once I'm done with this video. But anyway, getting back to Brian Michael Bendis, his Marvel Universe stuff really just falls short. His X-Men run was really bad. His Avengers stuff started out really good. He revolutionized another character, which was Luke Cage. He basically took Luke Cage from being this cliche-like character and turned him into something new and unique. But lately his Avengers stuff is just really bad. Secret Invasion was bad. Dark Reign was bad. And let's not forget everyone hates this character, the Sentry, which was actually a pretty good character until they introduced into the Marvel Universe. And then that's when Bendis got a hold of the character and basically just ruined it. It made him way too powerful, and by the time he died, it was just really stupid at the end of Siege. Now, I can't forget his Daredevil run, which is also very legendary, and I consider that one of the best things he's written as well. His Daredevil run is just fantastic. Basically kind of picking up where Frank and Kevin Smith kind of took the character and did his own thing with it. He put a realistic twist on it and had Daredevil outside of the costume for a while and just ran with it. And he's very good at stuff like that. I've noticed that as well. Kind of putting real world events into comic books. He's very much into that type of thing. But getting back to his other stuff, Bendis, in his interviews, he's come off and said that he really does not like to read other people's books. Like, he doesn't like to read Matt Fraction's Iron Man, but it makes no sense to do that, because when you're writing stuff like the Avengers, you have to get to know the characters, what's going on in the single character books. Because now he's got it where Tony Stark is very not very smart, where he has all his money back. But in the Matt Fraction Iron Man book, we know that Tony Stark is not back up to that status quo yet. And for Bendis to just ignore other people's writing and other people's stuff, it just comes off as very arrogant and cocky. And he just doesn't like to acknowledge other people's stuff, and that's not a good thing. That's another thing about him. He's become very arrogant lately. I've noticed in his interviews, especially if you go to blogs and different things like that, he has this very cocky attitude about him, where he just comes off as a bit of an asshole. And Bendis really, this is really, that's really just stuff that's come up recently. Like, he used to be generally a nice guy. He just really lately just turned into an a-hole. Probably because of him being egged up as a top Marvel writer, and his books do sell. His books sell a lot. I don't know why, but they sell a lot. I'm particularly talking about his Marvel Universe books. He's even come out and said that he would not work for DC. He says I wouldn't work for DC even if they asked me. He's very much a pro Marvel guy. Which I to each his own. I don't really condone him for that, but when it comes to writing books, you might want to start acknowledging other people's stuff, Bendis, because it can get very confusing when reading Matt Fraction book and reading yours, where the characters are completely different. A lot of people have called Bendis the Tarantino light, where he likes to have a lot of dialogue, a lot of stretched out storylines. He's dragged the storylines out very long, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work out. He puts out a lot of stuff. I'll say that. He puts out a lot of material. His books come out on time generally. He's just he's very hit and miss. And when I say hit and miss, I'm referring to his mainstream stuff, not his indie stuff. His indie stuff is very hit, very good stuff. That's where he excels. His books are really good, and you can just tell he really puts a lot of work into his stuff. And with the Marvel stuff, he's basically just writing for the paycheck. That's what it seems like to me. I could be wrong, but that's the impression I get from seeing his interviews and stuff like that. Now, not really much else I can say about him. Like I said, I'm going to do a review on his new book called Scarlet, which was very enjoyable. Now, if you ask me, I think Bendis should get off the Marvel Universe books and stay in the Ultimate stuff and do his own indie stuff, because that's where he just seems to do the best work. His 616 Marvel stuff is just very meh or very bad, in my personal opinion. So, closing thoughts on Brian Michael Bendis. Very good writer. Just, particularly with his indie stuff, and with his Marvel mainstream stuff, not so good. And, he comes off as a bit of an arrogant asshole sometimes. And I really think he needs to back down off that. Somebody needs to tell him, hey, your stuff has really been lacking lately. And that's all I have to say about this. I am out.